Well, good evening, and good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I want to thank you so much for joining me this evening, tonight on Talking Sip Saturday night. And today is the 15th of March, 2023. And we're going down for the big time. I want to thank you, especially those on TikTok, for persons who want to join in on the live on YouTube channel. You can pop over there on the YouTube and you can remember to like and subscribe. For those also on Instagram, likewise, it's a similar invitation for you to pop over onto the YouTube channel. And for those also on Facebook as well, likewise, pop over onto the Instagram channel. Well, this evening is another evening talking sip, and the key thing about talking sip, as I said each time, is that I always ask the question: what is it that you are drinking? What is it that you want to drink? As a matter of fact, what I do, I got to be even be careful when I say drinking on TikTok, because it always comes up and says like the restrictions or whatever like that. So I will very refrain myself when I say what you are going to swallow, if anything, because when you say drink, it will pop up something to say that, you know, you got to be very healthy, or, be careful of some of the things that you say. So I'm going to be having a dash of Merlot. Yeah. And that's not much, just a little, just a little, just a little, and just a little enough. And likewise also I will have some what should I say, sparkling water as well, sparkling water, which is good, and there's sparkling water, which is really good. It is really fantastic. Tell me what you are drinking tonight. Yeah. There we are. Sparkling water. It's in a Stella Artois glass, but it is not Stella Artois. So TikTok, don't start to censor me or anything like that. Well, tonight, my topic tonight is, hey Michelle, good afternoon. How are you? Michelle, I've sent you the link, just to let you know. And Vanessa, I've also sent you the link, Vanessa, because I think you'd be very interested to know that tonight one is going to talk about the pre-civics, because civics is going to be launched, the discussion, definitely on where's Vanessa? I don't know which one is Vanessa. Yeah. Civics is going to be launched next week, the 22nd. So the topic tonight is pre-civics for Jamaica citizens, and election ready are we? Election ready are we? One of the things which is very interesting, and I'll just turn the music down here. One of the things which is very interesting is the whole aspect of understanding the role and responsibilities of people. Understanding the role and responsibilities of people when it comes on to an election. Understanding the roles and responsibilities of persons when it comes on to governance. What you're seeing today, and it is showing all over the world, you're seeing governments going about and operating as if they're operating on behalf of the people. See Putin over there, see Trump over there, Starmer over there, Zelensky over there, and all of them over there, chopping block, how are you? All of them over there actually operating, and one would say, in the interest of the people. Oh yes, definitely in the interest of the people. It couldn't be otherwise. Every government should be operating in the interest of the people. That's what they're there for. And if they do not operate in the interest of the people can get them out, vote them out accordingly, if anything. And in the whole thing which I've been looking at a lot is the roles and the responsibility, not of the politicians, roles and responsibility, not of the leaders, but the roles and responsibility of the people. The people have a role, the people have a responsibility. Definitely, they do. So I'm going to be talking about this tonight. Two-tier, not two-tier, not Kirsten, but two-tier, but two-tier. One, so what is the voting process for diaspora? That's a good point. We'll come on to that. Hold that point there. Don't leave that point. Let me just pin that. Let me just pin that one. Pin that comment. Hold that point right there. When you say diaspora, you have two aspects of a diaspora. Diaspora voting in the diaspora, or diaspora voting in the country of where they're from. That's a very interesting one. So we're going to get it going, and we're going to start the show, and let's get going. I must say that red wine is nice. It's Merlot. It's a very nice one. Yeah. I'm having a Corona, hanging out by the pool with the family and fresh and grilling fish steaks, burger, and all that on this beautiful. You're having a Corona. I thought you were saying you're having Corona. you know, the interesting thing about Corona, because last week I just realized when you say you're having a hangout by the beach, but last week I was. Yeah, let me go this first. Last week I was at the Jamaica High Commission in Prince Consort Road, whereby they were having lots of I think five key Jamaican business was here in the UK pitching, the British market for their business. And but as you mentioned Corona, one of the persons that I met was Professor Van Tem. Now, for those in the UK and who is familiar with what was happening during the course of the COVID, you had Prime Minister Rishi Sunak was there for, but Boris Johnson, Rishi Sunak there, and then you had the different professors who were there talking about Corona and the social distancing, the lockdown, the isolation, and the shield, and and all those things. Now, this is Professor Von Tam. That's Professor Von Tam. Professor Von Tam was there as a guest, and I had a brief interview with him as a reflection of COVID, because if, ladies and gentlemen, you should know that it is 5 years now since 2020. 5 years since COVID, 2020, and we had a brief discussion. So that was really informative, I must say, because he was there most nights on the television, number 10 Downing Street, and we had that discussion there. The interview will be coming out. I'll be having an interview. I had an interview with him there then, and I will be, talking about that very soon and discussing it. Also, a couple of the persons that was there, I was privileged to meet some very intelligent, very astute Jamaican business men and a woman. Okay? Very eloquent gentleman and lady. Was he telling the truth about it? Well, I think all he was really saying was that for his years upon this earth, he has been through 2 pandemics, and when he speak to his students or so, he said to them, there could be more. And he said, I'm afraid there could be more of this COVID as well. Okay? But that's going to be very interesting. And the thing about this, as the world is reflecting, I was there talking to a supermarket where I used to go to during the COVID period, and I was there talking to one of the staff. I remember him very clearly because at that time we became good friends, and this particular supermarket close by, I see most of them were there still working there during the COVID period. And he said there was really an airiness about this COVID time. I don't know. What's your views? What are people's views in regards to COVID? Because it's 5 years now. It's like an anniversary. What's your views? I remember on this particular show when we were on Instagram, when we discussed it, and a lot of us and were saying we weren't really into the whole vax thing or whatever like that. And when we sort of mentioned some of these things, they shut us down. I never forget one night. I don't know if Michelle was there one night where I believe like I saw a hand literally came through the phone and shut it down when we were talking. 'Cause one person was really getting on with it and so like that. And that was very interesting. And that is the time when I decided and said, listen, I'm not going to rely on YouTube, but I'm going to go also on Facebook, and YouTube in order to capture some of the information that we were talking about. So it's a very interesting time. So I'd love to hear your views as to what is your memory, what did you learn during COVID period. Now back to some of the people that I met. You know, this was it was a reception which is a part of a second United Kingdom Trade Partnership UKTP program IT BPO trade mission from Jamaica to London. And I'm just going to show a couple of the person that was there. I was with Mr. Lawrence Jones. He's from the Lawrence Jones is from the Jampro office. He invited me there, and so he's a part of the Jampro here, trying to create business for Jamaica and also business from Jamaica here. So it's a reciprocated thing. And on while there as well, I also met what should I say? I met this gentleman here. Yep. And the names I'm not so sure of the different names as well, but I'm going to do the interview. You may know him, if anything. One of the things about this event, there were 5 companies: Innovate 10X, VLP, BPO, a global business process, MC Systems, a technological solution provider with operations in 26 countries. There was Smart Mobile Solutions, and there were Software Architects. Yep. So these were the different companies which was there on and sat on recently. And there was this lady here, which was Kimona Johnson. She's from one of the group there as well. And people might know them when I put them up there. People in Jamaica may know these persons. And I think this was Aaron. I'm not sure if that's his name. There it is. Trust me, I know all their names. We've got their names on system, but I need to really recap and to really put their images to their name whenever I do that interview. And also, this is Dane. Yeah, yes, Dane was there as well. These different companies, very interesting individuals. And what was very interesting about it as well is that there were persons really tapping into the diaspora and creating business. So they're actually coming to the UK, pitching the UK to deal with for their BPO and their iTech company in Jamaica. And that was very inspirational, and that was really important. And I was talking also to the Jamaica High Commission as well. I'm supposed to be having a sit down with the Jamaica High Commission at some point. Every time a Jamaica High Commission come to the UK, I always try to have a sit down with them when they come, and an exit interview when they leave, to find out how was the journey and what their vision is. And there, Mr. Corey Hyde from Victoria Mutual. Normally when Corey Hyde come on the show, I normally say, where are you? And he always says, I'm on the internet, because sometimes he's all over the world, and that's Mr. Corey Hyde there as well. So yeah, So the it was a very interesting event. Yep. Let me remove that. It was a very interesting event there from the Jamaica High Commission, and it shows also at the same time that Jamaicans all over just need, I wouldn't say a leg up, but just need a base, and they can excel as much as possible. Now, let's move on to civics. Civics is a topic which we have been talking about in Jamaica for a while, and most times on this discussion on this show, people will always say, "We need civics in school. We need civics in school. We need to talk about civics." They stopped civics many years ago. So I said one evening about a few weeks ago, I tell you what, let's just teach civics here on TikTok. Let's just teach civics here, right here on YouTube. Let's just talk civics right here on Facebook. Let's just talk civics right here, and we can share and have in the discussion with it. Now, a part of the whole process is that I'll be supported by a teamwork. Matunda Makula is in the UK. Teamwork, right, with Miss Professor Rosalie Hamilton, maybe Daniel Arch, maybe Jeanette Calder, persons who are part of civil society. And as we are leading into Jamaica elections, I believe it is very important that persons are educated as to it. I'm even going to be having even Mr. Simon Woolley, Lord Simon Woolley from the UK here, hoping to get him on as well. Simon Woolley is, I think, one of the key voices when it comes on to educating, especially the Black community, about political involvement. I was with him many years ago, well, not long, many years ago, with Operation Black Vote. Operation Black Vote is a non, NGO charity like. There is, he's actually, Simon Woolley is Lord Simon Woolley. He became the first Black man to be named head of Cambridge University Homerton College in the UK. A mentor during the Operation Black Vote scheme, which I was a part of. I shadowed a couple MPs in the UK. One was a former Attorney General. One was also the father of the House, and in the whole process of Black involvement, because you had many different areas in the UK where Black people were were focusing, like Birmingham, like in Lewisham, like in Lambeth, and these key areas in Brent. And the whole discussion was about how these Black votes can make a difference in particular areas and vote as a block, if anything, and play with the figures and see how we can have an impact. And also encouraging persons to be involved in the political process. Also encouraging people to become governors, encouraging people to become councillors, encouraging people to be magistrates, encouraging people to become members of parliament, whatever. So that is what Operation Black Vote is about. In the UK, in Jamaica, you won't have an Operation Black Vote. I think in Jamaica you would have an Operation Vote, if anything. Meaning to say, not waiting for just an election to be called where you just vote, but you're actually being involved and being active, an active participant in the process. Active participant that within the 5 years period or so, you are being very active, right? And the study of civics is very important and very crucial. It's known as civic education or citizenship education. As I know one person said, I believe what I would like to talk about is about citizenship. Ladies and gentlemen, please share and please like. Let me put the Instagram, the TikTok bit, so you can actually, I'm speaking to TikTok as well. Share, person, share it. This is very important. This is not about JLP or PNP. This is about you. This is about the role of you, role of individuals, the power that individuals have in shaping a country, and not just allowing a leader. I mean, I heard something that the Prime Minister of Jamaica said. He said, "Never should the PNP come back in power again. Never." And when you hear that, you say, that sounds like some people who said, "I'm going to try to be the Prime Minister for life." Or some people who change up their constitution to make it for life. Dangerous statements there, even though it might sound like just political gerrymandering, if anything, or political pontificating or something like that. But no, where it's come from sometimes, it's dangerous because you send a signal, if anything, to your base. You send a signal to your new MPs or so to say that never should the opposition come into power. Now, I can understand, of course, in election, no, they shall not win, but to say never, I think one person even said, by all means necessary. I'm going to try to see if I can find a clip of all of them and put it together. Very dangerous, I must say. And we got to call it out. So study of civics, also known as civic education or citizenship education, is a comprehensive field that prepares individuals to be active, informed, and responsible members of society. Right? I'll go again. Civic education or citizenship education is a comprehensive field that prepares individuals, you, to be active, informed, and responsible members of society. I mean to say you have to be proactive. I mean to say you cannot sit back and just allow maybe like in Jamaica, for argument's sake, 37% to 40% are persons who normally go out to vote. The last election was 37% of the eligible voters. Before that, I believe it was 40% of eligible voters. Then what we found out again was that of these 37 and these 40%, maybe 80 to 90% of them are die-hearted persons. Mean to say, whatever happens, they will never change. They'll either be a green or they'll be an orange, JLP or PNP. So therefore, one has got to widen the scope now and say, hang on a second, what is the mental capacity? What is the education level of these 37%? Because that 37% is that percentage who will impose upon the rest of Jamaicans the leadership or the political parties or the next government. And sometimes I always say this is what they always say. You vote out the government, and guess what you get? You get the government back. You vote out the government, you get the government back. So civic provides students with the knowledge about political systems and process of government. That's what we're going to be talking about. Democratic principles and institution. That's what we're going to talk about. Citizens' rights and responsibilities. You know that as citizens, you have rights. You got responsibilities. Yeah. Law and justice systems. Current events and social issues. You know, that's knowledge and understanding. I'm not a director, but I probably vote for Labour Party. And that is even right. So therefore, whenever good point that Rennie Smith said, I'm not a director, but I would probably vote for Labour Party. And that's what it's about. It's about persons having that choice and being active, being proactive. I mean to say, get out there and to vote. And if like someone said to me one time, I'm not going to vote Silver. I'm not going to vote. It makes no difference. It makes no difference. Both of them are the same thing. Oh, yes, you got people who say that. I never vote. And I always say to persons like this, forget about the leaders. Forget about Andrew Holness. Forget about Mark Golden. Unless you live in that area in their constituents, that's when you'll be able to vote for them directly. But you won't be able to vote for them directly, generally, because it's not a presidential system where you vote for Kamala Harris or you vote for Donald Trump. No, this is the prime ministerial system. Actually, I need to check out this whole thing about Canada, because Mark 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 Carney, the new prime minister of Canada, he's not a member of parliament. But anyway, yes. So you don't really vote directly for the prime minister or the opposition leader. But what one should really focus on in this whole aspect of political engagement and leading up to an election, what should focus on is this: that member of parliament, the person that you're going to be voting for. That's who is going to be interesting. The person that you're going to be voting for. That person should be knocking on your door. That person should be accessible, where you can question them. There should be hustings. There should be town hall meetings. And that's why I believe it's very important that it's unfortunate that there's not a certainty when it comes on to the date of an election. Certainty gives persons time to plan properly. Say, for instance, someone wants to travel at this time, and they know that an election is going to be called before end of September. Now, right now, a lot of persons, I believe, who are maybe wanting to get involved in the electoral system, and the person that I'm trying to speak to say, you need to vote, they may want to travel on a business thing. But they're worried that if an election is called, they could be out of the country. Now, the point that someone said earlier, which is a good point, is what about the diaspora vote? And the diaspora doesn't have to be someone who lives in overseas. It can be someone who is over there at a time when election is called and they want to vote. Do Jamaica have is there a system whereby persons can vote from overseas to Jamaica? No. America has it. South Africa has it. Australia has it. And I know that personally because I've worked with persons in the UK from Australia, from South Africa, and from USA. And when an election is called, they go to a South Africa house, Jamaica embassy, or whatever, and Australia house, and they go and vote. Right? So that system is there, but Jamaica do not have it. Jamaica was toying with the idea of having a seat in the House of Representatives for diaspora. Well, it wasn't a toy with it. They're still toying with it. Mark Golding has said it, and previous and successive diaspora events have said it as well. And I was one of those persons who actually brought it on the floor in the diaspora conference 2004, 2006 about overseas voting. Delano Franklin was the Minister of State, the late Delano Franklin, good friend of mine, God bless his soul, rest in peace. He was the minister. And I never forget one time when I raised the whole point about overseas voting, Danville Walker was the director of elections at that time. And I remember I was there at the diaspora conference in Jamaica. And I remember Delano was over the microphone and said, "Where is Silburn?" He was the one who raised it. I believe I was the one who raised that point on the floor about overseas voting. After a while, they started to talk about diaspora having a seat in the Senate. Met with Danville Walker, met with Chris Tufton at that time there. And that was from 2004. That was from 2004. And to this day, it is still not active. It is still not up. There's not the will. There's an article I wrote one time in the newspaper in Jamaica, and it was bankruptcy of the wills fuel crime. But I was using that point there about bankruptcy. If there's not a will and there's not a resolve and there's not an intention to do something, it will never get off the ground. No, it will never get off the ground. And that article which I wrote in the paper was the time when P.J. Patterson was the prime minister. And at that time, Peter Phillips was the Minister of National Security. And I have that article. Can't find it online, but I think I had framed it. And it got letter of the day. And it said, bankruptcy of the wills fuel crime. Bankruptcy of the will fuel crime. And therefore, bankruptcy of the will at this time when it comes on to overseas voting, bankruptcy of the will when it comes on to deciding on whether or not there should be a representative from the diaspora in the Senate. It won't get off the ground if there's not a will and a result to do so. My view personally is that it makes, I'm not one who's forcing or pushing for there to be diaspora voting for me, who lives in the UK, to vote in Jamaica elections. Even though I'm from Orchardist, I'm from Northeast Centre, you know, and even though I've got a Jamaican passport as well, I'm more focusing on, this is where I'm focusing on. I'm more focusing on that person who, like, leading now in this election. Election is due constitutional by September. And if that person leave Jamaica and go to do their business overseas, and while they're over there, Andrew had taken him, and Brogard said, election is going to be in this date. Now, this person is in the States, want to get involved with the electoral system and say, oh, shucks, I can't go back and come back because I don't have the financial capability to do so. So what, they know nothing, they can't vote. But if there's a system in place whereby they can vote at the Jamaica High Commission, then that is what I believe should be. That I believe should be the first port of call. You know? So I'm not really an advocate of, just because I'm living in the UK and I got a Jamaican passport or blah, 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 that I should be telling Jamaicans how to run their life and blah, 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 while I'm still, but I believe in the first instance, it should be for those who are in Jamaica, live in Jamaica, and overseas on business or whatever election is called, they should have the ability to vote. What do you think? There's 1 million people of Jamaican heritage in UK. Some are citizens. We have no vote. Well, that's the reality. But why would you want to have a vote? I'm going to put that question to you. Why would you want to have a vote in Jamaica? People of Jamaican heritage in the UK? People of Jamaican heritage in the UK swear their allegiance to the king. Of course, you can have dual citizenship. You can have a Jamaican passport and you can have a British passport. But if you're paying your taxes in the UK, if you live in the UK, your life is in the UK, why do you want to vote in Jamaica? That's a big question. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not being a devil's advocate. I'm not a devil's advocate. I'm a God advocate. I'm a Jesus advocate. But I'm just dropping the point there. These are some of the arguments that people have. Why do you want a seat in the Senate? Jamaicans in the diaspora. Why? What does that serve? I think one of the things which is very important is to create a system, amend the Constitution where things work very effectively. You have things like impeachment. You got things like recall. You got things like removing the king as the head of state. And therefore you have an executive government, an executive president. Now that's what I'm an advocate for. And I can go further when it comes on to the whole aspect with civic. So I'm just sort of dropping some sort of skeletons in respect. I might be going on to Wayne Lone's program tonight. He wanted me to talk about this push, what I'm doing regarding civics and to educate persons, or to be, I wouldn't say educate persons like I've got any sort of authority in the subject matter, but my drive to somewhat deviate and move away from just the cussing off one another, PNP and GLP and blah, 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 way. I like to get into the meat of things and to be a part of the solution in helping persons to understand the fundamental right they have, the fundamental freedom they have, and what they can do. Study of physics aims to develop essential skills. Study of civics aim to develop essential skills such as critical thinking and analysis of political and social issues that I believe everyone needs to have. Effective communication and argumentation. You can only argue and communicate effectively and properly if you're educated and you're wise up to some of the things out there. It's like some people would say sometimes, oh, you can't speak to the minister, blah, blah, blah. It's the minister. Hey, but that minister is actually your servant. Do you know that? Do people know that? That the chief servant in Jamaica is the prime minister. So the prime minister is obligated to answer questions that you have. Shouldn't be like a boss. You are the boss, the ultimate boss. Do people know that? But when I see Jamaican politics, when I see Jamaican politics, a broader participation might help. This wine is nice, actually. You should try it. It's a Merlot. I don't know. It's something. I hope they didn't put any sugar in it. Yeah. By the way, you're a passport holder. By the way, for men out there, I want to say that I did my prostate test and came back. They said it was okay, no detection of cancer or anything like that. But I've got diabetic, so got to be watching my sweets. So if you're sweet, stay away from it, and sort of watching the sweetness. I mean, I think I got away during the Christmas period with my, Jamaicans, we love our cake and we love these things, so I've got to watch it, but at least I feel a sense of relief when it comes on to the prostate bit, because they said 1 out of 4 men, especially 1 out of 4 black men, they said 1 out of 8 men, but 1 out of 4 black men, they say will get prostate cancer. But I don't like to say will, because it's like you're confessing it. But they said that's what the record, and that's what is official out there. But really and truly, do try to check it out, because I've done a few discussions with key persons like Tony Kelly, like Anthony Francis, men who are dealing with prostate cancer and dealing with prostate. So ladies out there, please encourage your men to do their prostate test. It is not so intervening as before, or prove, or go in certain places where man not like go. Now it's blood test which is there. So I encourage persons to do that. I just wanted to say that because I believe it's very important, as much as possible. Yeah. So media information literacy, collaborative problem solving. Thank you for the likes and the share, ladies and gentlemen. Please remember to share those on TikTok, those on Facebook, those on YouTube. Share. Tell everybody who is here. Party people in the place to be. My name is Sid, and when you listen to me on the microphone stand, rap up on the mic, and you know I'm the dad. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, I used to be a rapper, and I used to do all these different things. So sometimes it pops out, and I believe, that's you just got to be real and be yourself. And I love to dance. So yeah. So continuing the whole discussion, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for your input and your listening, because I trust and I pray that you share this so that other persons listen and to be aware. Collaborative problem solving, active participation in civic processes. Now, when it comes on to civic processes, there are some civic organizations in Jamaica, like Advocates Network. You got civic organization in Jamaica like National Integrity in Action, JAMP, Justice for Jamaica, Stand Up for Jamaica. And these are just 5. But actually, a lot of civic society organizations like 4-H, Optimus, Keys Club, Kiwanis, they also should be very active places that you can, be a part of it. And it's very important that people, Jamaicans, the UK, wherever, be a part. David, we ask a virgin, be a part of this civic process. Because being part of the civic process, it gives you a hand because you got power. I tell you what, one of the things about political involvement, there's this thing called lobbying. Years ago in the UK, there were a lot of Jamaican teachers here. Jamaican teachers are here. There's this thing which was called a qualified teacher status, that the teachers needed to have and you needed to have that. Once you come here, you got to do that in order to get matriculated into the UK system or whatever like that. Not everybody was doing it right away, but then a law or regulation passed under the Home Office to say that they need to have that or they'll have to go. And I was asked, and the Jamaica High Commission at that time was Birch and Whiteman, and we all played a different parts and different role in advocating for teachers. I remember I was it the teachers one? Yes, I think I was standing in front of the Home Office one time, on a soapbox, and then George Galloway came out, and George Galloway said, "What did you say? I like what you say. Each one reach one." Yes, I got the picture still of George Galloway looking on while I was there speaking. That is one aspect: active demonstration, active public procession, and then at the same time, one can be a part of a civic process by letter writing to your MPs, writing to your prime minister, Then you can also have petitions. Petitions sometimes may not do much, but actually galvanize. And it brings the mindset of persons together where they can actually see that they are waking things up. They are challenging prime ministers. In the UK of recent days, there were, I think, 3 million people who did a petition that they wanted to have another election because they believe that the present prime minister, Sir Keir Starmer, breached or did not follow through with some of the manifesto action which he said he was going to do, whereby take away the fuel help which elderly persons used to have. They took it away, and different things. So people said it's a fake government. So 3 million people voted for that in their petition, and they had a debate in the House of Commons. So people can do that, and actually calling up your MP and speak to them. As a matter of fact, the election is coming up soon. Yep. And therefore, one will have to ask certain MPs certain questions. As a matter of fact, I would encourage persons to ask each MP this particular question. I'm not in the UK. I'm not in the Jamaica. I'm in the UK. But there's one thing that we hear a lot: the Integrity Commission and these two words, illicit enrichment. Illicit enrichment. They said there are 8 government members, MPs, and I believe the Prime Minister is one of them, who are being investigated for corruption. That's what illicit enrichment is: corruption. And I would suggest this, that every MP that is putting themselves forward as a prospective parliamentary candidate, because I tell you this, once an election is called and they get into the whole aspect of campaigning, all MPs stand down and only the Prime Minister remains. So you got to campaign for your seat. How will the government run? The government will be run, and the country will be run by the cabinet and civil servants. So for the 6 weeks or so of electioneering, what will happen? There will be no MPs, no members of parliament. So you're going to have 63 and 63 persons, 63 from one side, 63 from the other side, and also maybe UIC, who knows, independent party might have also 63 as well. And when any of these persons come before you, especially persons who are or was or is an incumbent, ask them this question: are you being investigated for illicit enrichment? Look them in the eye and say, are you being investigated for illicit enrichment? Are you being investigated in any way? Yeah. And ask them those questions straight up to their face. Yeah. I personally don't believe that anyone who is being investigated for illicit enrichment should be putting themselves forward to run. Doesn't stop them from doing that, though. There's nothing illegal about that. They're not doing anything illegal. But I can tell you this, and I can guarantee you this: in the UK, if anyone is being investigated in that way, the press would be upon them. Now, the press in the UK is a bit different from Jamaica. Person in Jamaica, in the UK, are not bought out. I'm not saying that the person in Jamaica is bought out, but I'm trying to say, you know, whatever. I'm just using the words that people say in Jamaica, whatever like that. But in the UK, you got all different sides. Press will come from left, right, and center, and they will actually hound that prospective parliamentary candidate. You have situations in the UK in the last election whereby a couple persons were removed from within a particular party before election, but because their names were already on the ballot as a Labour or Conservative or so, yeah, people will vote for them still. But the word is that these persons are not representative because of certain things that took place and transpire. So persons need to be fully aware of this. It's very important. And the onus and the responsibility is upon you, the 63% of persons who vote. The onus and responsibility is upon everyone who is going to vote to challenge your MP, your prospective MP, your incumbent or whatever, to ask them these questions. And this is not asking only the persons from one side, it's asking all of them. And then ask them again, will you sign up to the 7 Nolan principle, the 7 aspect of public life? Yeah. Somebody said, let me put this up. Somebody said the IC went extensively through the PM assets and final discrepancy. What the hell are you talking about? I'm just repeating what is out there, bro. This is not a political what should I say, platform. I'm just regurgitating and saying. Now, if you're saying that the IC extensively went through the PNP as a final discrepancy, then why was he suing them? Why was he actually taking them to court? Is it over? Is it? Is it? Is his thing certified? Is his declaration certified? Can you answer that question? Is it certified? And therefore, these are some of the questions, and this is why I put this thing up, this person right up here now, because this is exactly what it is about. Have to have these discussions. Because this person came and said the IC, which is the Integrity Commission, went extensively through the PN assets and find no discrepancy. What the hell are you talking about? Perfect. This is a democratic system. You have a right to speak, and I have a right to come back by saying, is the statutory declaration of the Prime Minister certified? Is it? I'll wait for you to come back. So yes. So moving on now, in regards to the whole aspect of civics and responsibility, we all, and you're going to have, and what you're going to have, you're going to have persons who are going to be very loud, and they are going to come at you. And that's why a lot of people sometimes do not get involved or engage in the political process, because you'll have persons from different sides. If you're not saying something that they like or so, they'll come at you, they'll be bullied, they'll attack you or whatever. But you got to stand your ground and just realize that they're just words. They're just keyboard warriors. They're just persons hiding behind social media as well. You got to recognize your strength and recognize that you have the power. As that song said, I've got the power. I'm here to encourage you in regards to that. Values and disposition. Oh, yes. I need to go back to that point there. Yeah, before I was encouraged to speak about that point, which is a good point that I see Alice brought up. The 7 code of conduct. 7 code of conduct, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm gonna mention them right here. Ask your MP, ask your prospective member of parliament if they signed up to the 7 codes of conduct. Let me just list them here. and I'm going to share it with you. This is like I like this discussion here. This is a very nice, chilled discussion talking about how, as individuals, that we can be better. Okay, someone just said PNP can't rule us again. We experience these Operation Pride, traffic euro, extortion or bribes, shell waivers, Kingdom Wall around the National Heroes Park, NS, the Manchester Municipal. Now that's a person putting a point forward. Very important. But I think where I sort of depart from this is when they say PNP can't rule us again. But I didn't know that a government is in there to rule you. Is JLP ruling you? So you want JLP to rule you or PNP to rule you? That shouldn't be. You see, this is the thinking that I'm talking about. Once you talk about the government is important. So therefore, if there's a government, if it's a JLP government or it's a PNP government, it's the government of Jamaica. And that's why I'm one of the persons who is of this view that you need to done away with these colors, green and orange, because what it can be intimidating. And I tell you when it can be intimidating. Say, for instance, even in this run up to the elections, and persons are out there wanting to ask questions to the prospective member of parliament. Now, when a JLP person is coming around, or PNP, they're going to be done and they're going to be surrounded by people in yellow, people in orange or person in green. Now, if someone from another side or another persuasion want to ask them some questions, they might feel a bit intimidated. So I'm one of those persons who have the views that done these colors, man, done this green and this orange and this loud noise thing, and let people have in this level of camaraderie. I'm not saying camaraderie, because, and this is it. Also, even when I don't know if surgeries are like that. If a surgery for an MP, if the MP is JLP or PNP or UIC, is that surgery covered in green or covered in orange? And then you got the person sitting out there, and if somebody come there wanting to see their MP, would they feel intimidated? My view is done with the colors. Done the colors, the pink, the red and the orange. Anyway, let's see here. So I see the Integrity Commission is PNP infiltrated institution who leaks information for 4 years for PNP campaign. Okay. There are Democrats and Republicans. There are Democrats and Republicans in the USA, but they don't go around with their colors all over the place and they don't have all these colors of these, it's a bit different, I must say. Let's get real. You don't have persons in all these different colors. So I understand, but I like these comments coming through because I like to dissect it. I want these comments coming through, G Roy, and I can recognize, G Roy, that you're a JLP activist, and nothing is wrong with that. It's important for persons to show their colors. It's important for persons to say, I'm PNP, I'm JLP. That is appreciated, and that is very much important, because we all must talk. So yeah. Somebody's sending me something. Yeah. Okay. What did you reply saying? Lewis, what did you reply? I see when extends because there were job was goes through it and come to because if there was a job was to go through it and to come to account, if no improprieties were not found, should certify refer to they left the whole thing. Okay, so it is still hanging. That's why you say, Ellis. It is still hanging. So what we are saying is that the statutory declaration is not certified, so it is still hanging there. So it's not over. Yeah. But there's been some changes now with the Integrity Commission, isn't it? I mean, Panton is gone, and I believe it's very important to have something like integrity commission. But let me just go back to the 7 codes of conduct, which I believe is very important for um, any sitting MP or any persons. And I'll say this. I say this. It is reported that none of the Labour Party members have signed up to the code of conduct. Yes, that's a reality. And the 7 principles are here. These are the 7 principles. Selflessness. Holders of public office should act solely in terms of public interest. Ask your MP. Ask your MP or your prospective parliamentary candidate if he will sign up to it. Ask them. Ask your prospective MP if you will sign up to the second one, which is integrity. Holders of public office must avoid placing themselves under any obligation to people or organizations that might inappropriately to influence them in their work. They should not act or take decisions in order to gain financial or other material benefit for themselves, their family, or their friends. They must declare and resolve any interest and relationship. Will you ask them that? Ask them left, right, and center, PNP, JLP, UIC. So when your MP come and knock on your door, ask him that. And mark you, and I put this disclaimer many times that I'm most times really reaching out to that 63%, that 70% of persons of the 1.9 million, 2 million now, who didn't and don't vote. The 37% and the 40%, nothing's going to change their mind. They're die-hearted. So my focus really is upon that 70% of persons who don't normally vote. Will you ask your MP, prospective parliamentary candidate, objectivity? Will they sign up to being objective? Holders of public office must act and take decisions impartially, fairly, and on merit, using the best evidence and without discrimination or bias. Will you ask him that? You must ask him that. You must ask your MP, is accountability. Holders of public office are accountable to the public for their decisions and actions and must submit themselves to the scrutiny necessary to ensure this. Will you ask your member of parliament, prospective member of parliament, that question? You must. The responsibility and the onus is upon you, because if you don't, and the persons you get, you can't blame nobody but yourself. Right? The persons who are there leading a country, PNP or JLP or whatever, USA. I mean, let's look at the USA for argument's sake. You get Trump because the people put Trump there. That is why Trump keep always going back. Listen, when Trump became president and at his inauguration, what did he do? He said the same thing he has been saying on the campaign trail. What is he doing? The same thing he has been saying on the campaign trail. Every day he's doing the same thing, chanting the same thing, saying the same thing. That's what he's saying on the campaign trail. So what you get is what the people has given. The people has, and sometimes people say, oh, what is happening here? I said, Trump is actually just showing you what America is. He's taking it off. Take off the blinders. This is America. Who, as that song said, you know? Ask your prospective member of parliament this question again. Openness. Holders of public office should act and take decisions in an open and transparent manner. Information should not be withheld from the public unless there are clear and lawful reasons for so doing. Will your MP, your prospective member of parliament, agree to that? Ask them that question, challenge them, and say, I will not vote for you unless you sign up to that code of conduct. And that's not something which is a integrity commission thing only. In the UK, they do that. They sign up to it. There's no question about it in the UK that any members of parliament should do so, should not do so, or dare question the need to do so. Holders of public office should act and take decisions in open and transparent manner. Information should not be withheld from the public unless there are clear and lawful reasons for so doing. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, this is exciting time. I'm really excited about Jamaica. I believe Jamaica is stepping into something awesome because you're on the horizon of removing the king as the head of state, and that's going to be awesome. I know I'm in the UK here, but I believe it's high time that you remove. But you don't just remove the king as a head of state and just do blase. You need to strategically, you need to strategize properly. I believe the best thing is an executive president, personally speaking. I don't believe the prime minister, either way, PNP or JLP, should have the overriding decision as to become president. It should be the people, ultimately. The people should be that. Honesty. Holders of public office should be truthful. No lie. Them lie, them lie, them lie. I remember Michael Manley one time said, and I always sort of imitated, they lie on Monday, they lie on Tuesday, they lie on Wednesday, they lie on Thursday, they lie on Friday, they lie on Sunday. God help them, they lie on a Sunday. Holders of public office should be truthful. Leadership, the last one. Holders of public office should exhibit these principles in their own behavior. They should actively promote and robustly support the principles and be willing to challenge poor behavior wherever it occurs. Will you ask your prospective MP if they have signed up, or will they sign up to the 7 codes of conduct? It's very important. The onus and the responsibility is upon you. It is not on the MPs or so. It is upon you. People, you got the power ultimately. Let me just remove this here. Move from the stage. Yeah. Let me see. A1 is they overstepped unlawful their role. They should conclude or refer the director. They did nothing. Yeah. Yeah, I think the whole thing with the prime minister, it needs to come to an end. They need to sort it out. I sometimes believe that the whole gagging thing, because even like the 8 persons who are being investigated, I think they should just be named. But of course, I understand there's a gagging clause that stop the Integrity Commission from saying who they are. But I believe that it's very important they're named. Don't you think? Don't you think it is important for persons who are being investigated to be known, that it doesn't go over into an election? Don't you think? Don't you think so? Let me ask a question very seriously. If people are being investigated for corruption, whether they are guilty or not, do you think they should proceed into an election and, as someone said, rule over us? I said earlier, I don't like the term rule. No government is ruling over you. No. If you have that mindset that they rule over you, that is where you're thinking these persons as God. I was in Jamaica one time at a diaspora conference, and I was speaking to someone in one of the marketplace there. And while speaking to the person started to look around, and I was wondering what's going on. The person not listening to me anymore. Oh, the minister is coming. The minister is coming. And there was a minister coming. I won't say who. Minister was coming, and he had his entourage of persons, and the person like, who person getting excited. I'm saying, what's this big deal? I mean, I've been at the House of Commons, go look for Diana Butt. I'm a member of the Conservative Party. I have no obligation. And you see, David Cameron, these persons, it's not a big deal. It's not just something you get excited about. Oh, the minister. No, these persons are servants. They're servants of the people. So when the people actually challenge them and say certain things, they have to respond because they can be voted out. I'll give you a classic example. A member of parliament the other day punched a guy down. Yeah, a member of parliament, a Labour member of parliament in the UK, punched one of his constituents down. Yes, he did. And when he did so, he was arrested. They took him to court, and he was found guilty. I'm going to see if I can find it here. He was found guilty, ladies and gentlemen. And by being being found guilty, guess what? He got sentenced. And then being sentenced, guess what happened now? He's going to be recalled. So therefore, a member of parliament punched someone. That sounds familiar. Is something like that happening in Jamaica? I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. Anyway, member of parliament punched someone, punched them down, beat them up. Yes. Let me see if I can find it. Who did I send it to? See if I can find the article. Punch someone down, Matt, to the virgin. And yes, Mike Ansbury to stand down as MP over assault conviction. Member of parliament punched one of his constituents down. Let me find it. I'll read it here. There it is. I just want to show you something here. This is good governance. Good governance is important. To do. Okay, let me get this one out. What you said? You can't name someone and put someone repeating at risk from mere allegations. When you have adequate evidence, you charge them, you can name. I tend to really question what you're saying there. You know why I say that? Because you have a lot of persons in the system. You have a lot of persons who are named out there. Simply call them thief aki. Simply because of some basic things. Just like how a member of parliament who is a person come to you and ask you to vote for them, they should be accountable and should be transparent. They should be coming to you, the constituents, and say, listen, I'm being investigated for this. But I lied them, I tell. I'm going to go through the process. You guys make these guys believe that they have too much power. You know? Right? Listen, they came to you. They said, vote for me. I'm this guy. If there are questions about their credibility and their character, nothing is wrong with them being known and then they get acquitted or whatever like that. All right? What I believe is wrong is hiding their names, hiding them. Or listen, or maybe, okay, this is the best thing to do. Step aside. Step aside while the investigation is going on. Recluse yourself. Maybe that's the best thing. As that song says, step aside now. You know, step aside. You guys give these persons too much power and look up to them too much and think they are God. It's wrong. It is wrong. You know. So therefore, that's just my personal view. But anyway, let me go back to the MP there who was charged. Listen, if I'm caught with my pants down or something like that, I don't want my pants to go down any further. I'm stepping aside. Step aside because it's gonna bring the party into disrepute or something like that. Step aside. There we are. Mike Amsbury to stand down as MP over assault conviction. All right. Former Labour MP Mike Amsbury said he will stand down from Parliament after being given a prison sentence for repeatedly punching a constituents. Punch. Right? He'll begin the statutory process of winding up his office before resigning as an MP as soon as possible. Now, what they were saying, there should have been a recall thing. Yeah. He said, Enver told the BBC he would have tried to remain an MP, a job he said was his calling, had he been given a lighter community sentence. I would have continued to serve my constituents. I was elected just 7 or 8 months ago, he said. And that would have been my intention if I was able to continue. On the parliamentary rules, this is it, on the parliamentary rules, and this is what needs to happen in Jamaica. The recall process. If an MP receives a custodial sentence, a recall petition is triggered. Right? So if he gets a custodial recall, you can do recall still. I'm separated apart from that, but you need to have recall. If at least 10% of his constituents had voted to remove Ainsbury, a by-election would have been called, potentially ousting him as an MP. Nobody's going to say keep him. It's not like in Jamaica when someone is called with their pants down and they are, being investigated or something like that, but they say, oh, the people want her back. The people want her back. Put her back in power. No, that wouldn't happen in the UK. The press would hound them. It's not just, there got to be an adult in the room. There must be an adult in the room. So ask about his future. Andrew told the BBC, I'm going to step aside at the earliest opportunity. And that's it. That's it with Mr. That's it with Mr. Ainsbury. Yeah. Things are different in Jamaica, brethren, but we've got to really light it up. Jamaica culture and England culture are two different. Why we know that star? No, it's two different. But at the same time, while it is two different things, one thing that I know is that Jamaica emulate and follow the UK system, the Westminster system, House of Commons, Garden House, Senate, Upper House. In the UK, we have House of Lords. Bill reading, everything follows the same thing. King is the head of state. Governor General represents the king. So why can't the system which is there, which is almost similar, can't it be? You know why not? Because the people do not hold them accountable. The people do not put that pressure on them. The people. That is what I'm talking about. The people. People hold. Wow, it's 2360. The people hold the power. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Civics education fosters important civic dispositions, including tolerance and respect for diversity, public spiritness and community engagement, ethical decision making, ethical, whereas ethics are, willingness to compromise and negotiate, practical application. Civics education often involves practical experience such as participating in mock elections or debates. Have some debates, engage in community service projects. The ultimate goal of civics education is to prepare students to play a full and active part in democratic society, equipping them with the knowledge, skills, and understanding needed to be informed and engaged citizens. Ladies and gentlemen, I give that to you. Starting next week, on the 22nd, we're going to start having a discussion on civics. Get everyone to come, everyone in all of Jamaica to watch, every single person. What is your rights? What's your role? Why are you there? Are the MPs your boss? Are they? Yeah. Things are different in Jamaica. Not when they're not box up and kick up others in parliament. No, they don't do that. That's in some other countries. They box them up, Jamaica is too decent for them, man. They just bang on the desk, But sometimes I see them banging on the desk and they're them banging on it forever. But anyway, it's exciting time, But yeah, so citizens election, ready are we? It's coming up soon, and it's going to be an exciting time. And I must say again, it is not a silly season. Many people say it's a silly season. It is not a silly season. It's a very serious season. I'm taking that whole thing out of it when I say, oh, people go, oh, silly season, silly season, silly season. It is not a silly season. I'm sorry. It is not a silly season. It's a very serious season. Take that word out of your vocabulary. It's a very serious season. You know, what is your performance? What is your opinion on the performance of the government in Jamaica? My opinion on the performance in Jamaica, I believe that the Labour Party have been doing good things. One of the things that I had Marlon Morgan on my show the other day, and I said to him that the housing project which is being done, where the Prime Minister gives out, he's not giving out the houses, but he's a person who is, and this is the thing, it's not the Prime Minister, it's the government giving out the houses. You know, it's the Prime Minister, the Prime Minister of the government giving out the house, not JLP house. You know, I don't like those sort of things. The Prime Minister, the government handing out these houses, helping persons who are destitute. And it has been confirmed that the government is not going to take these houses back or so like that. Yeah, that's a good policy. I think that is very good. And it is something I said to Marlon, will it continue if Andrew Holness loses the next election and you know, Mark Golding becomes prime minister? He said he wasn't sure. I said no, it should continue. You see, Vision 2030, which is there in Jamaica, which supposed to have this, we're supposed to be this fully democratic society, not fully developed country in 2030. It may not happen. But the policies and the shaping of that thing through the Planning Institute of Jamaica is saying, really, there's nothing new should be in the manifesto. Really, nothing new should be in. I keep saying this all the while. That should be the join up vision for Jamaica. The join up vision. And based on that join up vision, all the GLP and the PNP or the UIC or whatever need to do is deliverable. Deliver it. Who can't deliver, who is not able to deliver on the micro level, sorry. I think when I slapped the table a while ago, I think my mic went. Sorry. Can you hear me? I got excited a while ago. Can you hear me? Ellis, can you hear me? G. Roy? The British nationals stalled the process of Jamaica moving from British colonizer DNA. The British nationals stalled. I don't understand that, G. Roy. Can you elaborate? The British national stalled the process of Jamaica moving from the British colonizer DNA. Can you break that down, G. Roy? That point there. Just want to have some sort of clarity. Not sure I understand that bit there when you say the British national. Hey guys over on Instagram, welcome over there. I didn't actually realize. How are you, Instagram? Peace out. TikTok, yeah, what's going on? Yeah, share, keep talking, and let me just hear. Yeah, elaborate on that bit, G-Roy. Um, uh, your views on the economy. Well, I don't know the views. I mean, you see, economy is a funny thing because there are many different persons saying things about economy as well. Sometimes you can see the big picture about the economy, but sometimes you got to um how is that filtering down? Because you can have a nice house, you can have nice big cars in Jamaica. People say, "Oh, enough money there, Jamaica." But where's the money concentrated in? Is it concentrated in a few person, or is it going down? It is filtering down. So just to say the economy without having knowledge of it, because persons, PNP say one thing, JLP say one thing, but how does it filter down? It's nice seeing the roads. I was in Jamaica and the motorway. It's good. Cities, nice BPOs. I was there in April with my family. I've been there since COVID, and lovely. The shopping centers, whatever, as well. So it looks great. Tourism. I interview with Ed Bartlett and Delana Seaver at regular tourism. And I can understand some of the issues regarding the craft market, not the craft market, but with the rafting areas. I'm from Ocherus, and I can, one is trying to get things developed. So I can see some of the workings there. but that's for the people of Jamaica to make their determination and their decision as to who they want to take them over into the next level. Okay, so you're talking about Mark Golden. Um, well, I'm sort of not happy when what's his name, Warmington, talking about his race, and really and truly, whether Mark Golden is British or Jamaican or so, the Constitution is there. The Constitution say you can be uh, British and you can be Jamaican and you can still become prime minister in Jamaica. In the UK here, I can become prime minister if I want because I've got my British passport, yeah, and I've got my Jamaican passport. I'm dual citizenship. Now, if it's America, now that's different. Now, when you remove the king as the head of state, now that's a different kettle of fish. A different kettle of fish there. So I'm not going to have a go at Mark Golden and get onto this racist trip or whatever like that, and this whole thing about Marky G and all those sort of things. I think those are very elementary and very childish. We need to be mature. We need to grow up seriously. And I'm not saying anybody here is childish or whatever like that, but I believe we need to really step up to the high level and look at bigger things. I must say the Constitution is there, and the Constitution gives a right for Mark Golden, whether he's born in the UK or whether he's born in Jamaica, to be the prime minister. It's legal. That's the key thing. It's legal. And he said he's going to renounce it. He said he's going to renounce it as well. Who else? I think, what's his name? Samuda said likewise. Mark Samuda is born in the UK. They shouldn't have to give up. Listen, I mean, sometimes I think about it. Why give up your citizen? Why give up your British citizenship? Are you going to be in Parliament for the rest of your life? Is your name well? Well, I'm very concerned because I saw something where the Prime Minister said, "What? What I'm saying? The PNP shall never come back and run this country. The PNP shall never come back and run this country." And I'm saying, I don't like those sort of sayings. I don't like those sort of things. I can understand maybe he's talking to his base or so and maybe trying to drum up certain things, but it doesn't look good. It doesn't sound right. It's bordering onto dictatorship thinking. I say dictatorship thinking, dictatorship mentality, where some countries in the world, as you know, and I won't mention their names, they would actually try to spend time and to be the government forever. Yes, they change their constitution to be there forever. No PNP or JLP or Mark Golden or Andrew Holness own Jamaica. The people own Jamaica, and they have got to be humble. They've got to have humility and chill. Because the people have the power. So the people, now listen, the last election, 1.92 million people were on the electoral list. 1.92 million. I got the figures. 1.92 million people were on the electoral list. Right? 37% came out to vote on that electoral list. Break it down. 405,000 or 408,000, I believe, voted for the JLP. 305,000 or 308,000 voted for the PNP. So therefore, guess what? 37% of the people in Jamaica voted. I'm marking that's 1.92 million on the electoral list. The total population could be about 3 million. It's growing. And really and truly, 407,000 people voted for the JLP. Does that give them a mandate? Well, it gives them a mandate based on the political system and based on our setup. But when you look at the figures, they got to be humble, right? So just humble yourself and just say, well, I hope that the people will vote for me. I do my best. These are my policies. These are the things that I've done over the years. List them, share them, tell them, get your MPs, get your people to talk about the things that you have done. But don't talk about PNP will never get in power again. That's arrogance to the highest level. Humble yourself, man. Actually, I'm speaking to the Prime Minister. Humble yourself, and Sir Prime Minister Oles. And you guys there who are PNP or JLP person, you need to tell your leaders that they need to humble themselves. The people are the ones with the power. They are the chief servants. Right? I say my piece right there. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing it. But Golden deceived the public in telling us that he was Jamaican only. Nobody's doing that. That is why he's slowing down the process of Jamaican being. I don't think. I don't think. Well, I think based on my understanding and as a lawyer, I think what he's actually saying. I think the point he's sticking at is the Privy Council. That's the point. Let's be fair here. I think he's sticking on the Privy Council point, whereby he said, "Why hold on to the King's Court and you're getting rid of the King?" That's what he's actually, I believe, saying. Let me know if I'm correct or am I incorrect. I would slow down the process. As a matter of fact, I'll slow down even the process of removing the king presently based on all things out, because I don't believe the average Jamaican know what's happening. I don't believe at the same time that it should be in the hands of the government on the Malahoo Fort and on the constitutional affair to be directing the way how one transitioned from being to get rid of the king. I don't think it has been handled properly. I don't think these what should I say, town hall meetings have been very effective. The average Jamaican sometimes say, how does that affect me? How does that affect the price of rice? How does that put food in my belly? Man, keep the king, man. So therefore, there's a big work that needs to be done. There need to be sharing of information as to what it is about, So there's so much more that I could go on in regards to this whole thing regarding constitutional transition and the whole process. I believe personally that it should be an executive president. I believe personally that it should not be quick. I believe that they need time. I believe let this election happen and then let the process. And I think it should be taken out of the hands of the government and get some independent person, some civic, some church person, whatever like that, and to lead it, not the government. Because when government does it, they start to see through their colors. Right? So that's me personally, and I'm from overseas, so maybe me I'm not say as people will say, "Cho, you're there foreign," and I'm not say. So I'm just saying my piece there. Don't shoot the messenger. The PM is speaking to a party and a campaign, and a campaign is different than to state. There's no agreement on the Privy Council now, but there's consensus now on removing the monarchy. Do this for I agree. Yeah, but you see, Ellis, this is the thing, Ellis. Listen, AI, Al. This is the thing, Al. If you remove the king, you have to replace the king with something else. And that is very important. Don't you think? Should it be should it be a ceremonial president, or it should be an executive? And then the constitution will have to be tweaked and amended to fit, to undergird the whole process. And I think you need to have things like recall. You need to have things like impeachment. You need to have fixed date for elections. All these things need to be in place. The prime minister said he was going to have it some time ago, but that's not. So because there's no agreement at this moment, nobody rush it. Don't rush the thing. Steady the ship for a while. Get things going. I don't believe it is something to be rushed, because if you're saying that you're worried about accountability and too much power in the prime minister, well, you might have a president with too much power. An executive president can come out and say, listen, I want to be an executive president for life. Yeah. It needs some more thinking through properly. Yeah. Let's not rush it. Let's get the election over and then get independent persons to lead the charge. Let Adam say, wheel and come again. The Constitutional Committee consists of every section of the country. I disagree, Virgin. I disagree. Totally disagree with that. But I won't go for it, because I did a few town hall meetings around the UK, and we had different persons on. I know a bit more than I might be saying. So yeah. Let people get to know more about that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna go. I need to go on to Wayne Lonesome, because he asked me to talk about the civics thing. So I'm gonna pop on there shortly. I try to, as much as possible, platforms I get to be a part of the education process. Yeah, be a part of the education process for Jamaica. You know, try not to get into the green and the orange, but try to be that voice of the adult in the room. You're not following the process. You are not following the process. Okay. Maybe I'm not following the process. Now I disagree with you, Virgin. You know? Yeah. The churches. I know that. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, Virgin. I hear the pastor ladies there, the constitution lawyers there, torn all across the country, but he now say nothing. He dead. He no ready. Many key persons say that. Right? Anyway, that's my view personally speaking. But don't hold it to me. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, have a good night, and I want to thank you so much for joining. Thank you those on app. Thank you so much, G-Roy. Thank you, Alalis. Thank you for for the discussion, and I'm glad for the frankness. I'll be very frank and straight to my point, but at the same time, I'm apt to learn. At the same time, I pride myself in the fact that this is one thing I pride myself in. I pride myself in the fact that I do not know everything, and I like to speak to different persons, and that's why I'll have Mark Golden on my platform. I meet with Andrew Holness dinner in London, and we have had interviews with Ed Bartlett and different persons, Delana Seavride, and Mark Golden, and all these different persons. It's very important to have dialogue. That's why I believe, like even with Zelensky and what's happening over there in Ukraine, it's very important to have dialogue with persons that you may not like. But because they say the war of the words can avert the war of the world. That's a new saying. The War of the World, if you remember that show with Tom Cruise and I forget what her name is. But we don't want the war of the world. Better the war of the words. The war of the words happen. Let's avert the war of the world. Okay? And one thing also I must say is this. As I said when I was speaking and I met all these different persons from Jamaica recently, and when I go to Jamaica as well, so beautiful, so lovely. And the only thing that is heartbreaking in a way is how I see a small country divided politics, and then when you have a Usain Bolt, everybody come together, lick pot and everything like that. Shelley and Fraser, you see, Messi into Jamaica, everybody were together, united, left and right, and if we all can do that, and remember, let there be a collective vision for Jamaica, collective whereby everybody is moving towards that, and anyone can look back and say, that's where we're going as a people. Election should be minor, not so forcefully dividing persons. We need to love each other, That's my saying. Thank you very much, guys, and have a good night. Michelle, peace out. Thank you very much, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good night. Peace out. Remember to like and subscribe, and remember, like and subscribe, share the show, and I'm going to put this up on podcast as well, on my Spotify podcast. Yeah, remember as well. Okay, peace out. Bye.